Guess who almost forgot to do a video today? Yeah. I do. I have something to talk about though. I got a big one. Hold on. Just one moment. In but a week, I've run out of video ideas, so now I'm going to my backup reserve. Let's talk about these 4 GameCube games, the entirety of my GameCube collection. Yeah, so let's just go into what I think is the coolest. Actually, I don't know if the cartridge or the game will be in here. It's not. This was my most recent pickup for the GameCube. I paid like $8 for it. Namco Museum. It's a compilation with a bunch of like old Namco classics. You got your Pac-Man, you get your Dig Dug, you get your Galaga. Get that one too. I don't really care about that one. But yeah, I don't know. Something we'll get to again that is kind of nice about the GameCube is it's actually a pretty cheap way to play a lot of like classic games. You know, in a form factor that's still like kind of console-y, and it's still something that I don't know. It's different than just like playing them on the original hardware, but at the same time, you're still getting probably a more authentic experience than you would if you were to purchase like a modern collection. Get the game. Hold on, it's in the GameCube. Let's see. Got this sucker out. Always forget the button to press. Something I really like about GameCube discs is like the color schemes. I don't know why, but I'm just now noticing that like almost all of them, to my knowledge, have this two-tone thing going on, and I think it's neat. I don't know why. There's only like 2 colors. But yeah, it's kind of cute. Just a little tiny disc. Yeah, this is neat. I bought it bought it like a week ago, and it is pretty nice. Also, it's got a really cool instruction manual. It's actually something I like. I think all of my GameCube games actually do have like the manual intact. So yeah, it's got this like pretty thick, pretty chunky. I mean, a lot of it's just the same thing in different languages. But it's pretty neat. It's got like individual instructions for each game in the collection. Also, just really like this Pac-Man artwork right there. So that's neat. And then, is there anything else interesting here? Not really. Oh, no, there is. I think this is like super cool. Shout out to my local game store for still having these things in it. But there's this little registration card where you can like mail it into the Namco for something. I'm not really sure what I'm sure you get some kind of like reward or something. But I think it's neat. I think it's really fun having that kind of packaging. So yeah, cool stuff. Next, we got. I've not played this one really at all. We got Star Wars Rogue Squadron 3. I need to play this more because I've never played many of the Rogue Squadron games. I got this like with my GameCube pretty early. I think it was the first game I got for it. And I played it a few minutes. It was pretty good. I just did that thing where I play the game pop it in for a little bit, and then just never touch it again. But here just to show off the disc. I'm always afraid I'm gonna like break these when I rip them out. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like, good choice in color scheme. It's got like the Rebel Alliance like fighter pilot kind of look to it. So yeah, actually it's fun. I'm a big Star Wars fan, but I've never really gotten into any of the games. So, however, what is nice about this is it does have a bunch of like little physical like goodies inside. So you get this whole instruction manual. It's pretty neat. And then of course we've got this little number right here. This little like slip here. It's got all kinds of like little offers and crap. Oh yeah, see? It's kind of neat. I don't know. I also think it's cool seeing also these have like Nintendo Power ads. Because I don't know, I think we tend to think of that as like a 90s thing, but it's like, oh yeah, they were still doing Nintendo Power. pretty late, all things considered. Basically like right at the cutoff of what a lot of people consider like retro, which would be like the GameCube. Like that was like the last generation to really get like Nintendo Power. So I think it's cool. Now, actually, now I'll do this now. This is like the one, like first party Nintendo game I have on this already, and it is Metroid Prime. However, not the basic version. It's also got this like bonus disc for like Metroid Prime. What's the second one called? I can't read it through the camera. Echoes, I think. Anyway, but it's cool. I haven't been showing off the back of the boxes because there's not really much to them. But this one, it's Metroid. Also, I think it's neat because it says RP, like rated RP to T, so like for rating pending, since the Echoes like content wasn't rated yet. So I think it's a neat little quirk. Show off what the discs look like. So there's the one for like the original Metro game, kind of cool. Looks like the morph ball, and then the bonus disc is kind of similar, just like grayed out. So yeah, cool touch. It's actually, the bonus disc is really fun because it's got like a bunch of like artwork and stuff on it. I like just concept art and little like lore tidbits. Like honestly, I know some people are like a little annoyed to not have like the original version of a game, or like the standard release. But I think it's kind of cooler to have a whole bonus disc full of content. But yeah, just showing off. Let's see what we got. There's actually a lot here in this one too. So you have a full art book here, and it's like completely, it's like completely colored in, which is really neat. I think completely colored. Yeah. It's cool. It's got this little like Mario art here that I think is just really clean looking. So yeah, I think that's cool, and I think it's cool to see that they like own Nintendo's instruction manuals through this generation. At least I can assume. This is my only first party Nintendo game, but so actually I don't know for sure, but at least of this, I think it's cool that like Nintendo's manual is all colored in. It's kind of nice. But this one came with a few other things too. Of course, we have the Nintendo Power Slip. It's got all these little like goodies too. So yeah, that's neat. And of course, it's got a little sign up sheet. I'm assuming you like kind of mail this in, which is such like just a lost art for me because like I was like, I was like born like a few months before the Wii came out, and so like just like there was never an environment that I grew up with for video games. I was always still in like a early like kind of like, oh hey, computers and like smartphones are like becoming a thing as I was like growing up with games, and so like we were like kind of moving into that like online smartphone era we see now with like video game stuff. So anyway, that's cool. And then we also have this little this like special sleeve or whatever for this edition, and it's got like a whole little advertisement sleeve for Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, and I think it's also got a little thing, let's see. Yeah, it's got a little thing showing you how to like play the original Metroid on GameCube, which is neat. I think I need to look at it again because I think I was under the impression you could unlock it in Metroid Prime, but this seems to only be telling you how to play with Metroid Fusion, which is weird because like I said, I thought it was an unlockable in Metroid Prime. Maybe I'm wrong. Because I've not beaten Metroid Prime, so I wouldn't know. But I could have sworn it was like unlockable in like both Fusion and Prime, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't really played a ton of it. I played more of the remake on Switch, but I do at some point want to really like give that a go, because I'm one of those people who's like kind of have the opinion that like a remake of a game is like not the same. It doesn't like replace playing the original in most cases. So for me, it's like I kind of view them as like different games, just because I don't know, it feels a little different. The art is gonna look different, even if the gameplay's not changed a ton. But even for me, because like I play on Switch, I play with like motion, which I'm not really getting on GameCube. Lastly, for my most played GameCube game, and it's kind of funny, is Sonic Mega Collection. I picked this up for like $12 at a used game store locally. And I've gotten an embarrassing amount of playtime out of this, because like I adore the Genesis Sonic games. Like I can just go back, pick them up anytime. They're so replayable, and like I do not get tired of them. And so yeah, whenever I want just like the raw original like Genesis versions of these games, I go to this because while there's, in my opinion, better ways to play them on modern hardware, you're still missing some like the little intricacies, whether it be like, oh, the move set's mildly tweaked, the physics work a little differently, for the better, in my opinion. Like I think the games are more fluid on the Sonic Origins collection on Switch, modern consoles. But I just sometimes you want to go back and play the raw original. And previously my only like physical version of these was like on DS, and it kind of stunk. The emulation was not great, but Mega Collection much better with emulation quality. So yeah, there's a little disc. I really like the yellow and blue colors. It's neat. Now, what's cool about this version is like there's a lot of little like extra games in it. So it's got like the Trinity here, Mean Bean Machine, Sonic Spinball, and Sonic 3D Blast. 3 games I really don't care about, but it's kind of fun to have, especially because the Switch version, or like the modern console release of Mean Bean Machine through, not Mean Bean Machine, of Sonic 3D Blast through like the Sega Genesis collections, which I think they're not. I don't think you can buy them anymore. At least, yeah, I think they delisted those. But for a while, and I'm sure you can still get a physical, but like the only way I have on like say Switch to play 3D Blast is like there's a really kind of poorly emulated version on the Sonic, the Sega Genesis collection. I really wanted to put it on like Switch Online because the emulation quality on Switch Online is far better than the like proprietary like Sega exclusive release, which I think is weird. Like, I don't know why the Nintendo service is better at emulating Sega games than Sega's own collection, but maybe that's why they delisted it. So anyway, getting to the little packing material. I didn't show this off with any of the other ones because it's in all of them, but there's this like basic GameCube safety manual that I think is cool. It's got some whatever in it. But then let's see what we got. Interestingly, kind of stripping back from like your full kind of like sleeves that these other ones have had. This is the like a registration. I don't know if you can see it well. You really can't. But there's like a little outline of Sonic you can kind of make out. It looks better in person. Like I can make it out in person, but the camera can't. So you're just gonna trust me on that one. I've wondered what would happen if you like sent this in to Sega today. I don't know if I don't know if I trust them to send it back. And I also think this is cool, and I don't want to. If I say maybe if I get another Sega game and it has this in it, I might send it in. I don't know. I also think I probably would trust Nintendo more to send it back with like something cool. I don't know, because I've seen people online send them letters and stuff, and they actually respond and like send back stickers. So I'm like, what if I send in a freaking like Nintendo Power order from a freaking like GameCube box? I might try that at some point. Who knows? Anyway, lastly, getting to the instruction manual. And something to point out here that I think is really neat is that. And, you can see here too, but like the art style for this like classic game collection is pretty different than what you see in modern Sonic compilations. Not only because it's in this very much like this like Sonic Adventure style. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if these like if this art was just like repurposed Sonic Adventure artwork. But it's kind of cool because nowadays if you get something like classic Sonic, it's got like this very like like there's an art design for classic Sonic. So like on my Switch, yeah, you can't see well. Maybe if I turn the brightness down, maybe. Yeah, you kind of see there's this like I don't know. There's a distinct like classic art style that they've kind of revived. Just kind of it's like all the classic Sonic art. And all like the classic compilations these days, like they reuse this like like he's smaller, he's rounder, kind of like what they did, like how he looked in Genesis. No, gosh, I can't speak. How he looked in Generations. Here, just to kind of illustrate the point better. Where is it? Where is it? Here we go. Okay, Sonic Superstars. For example, this was like a retro styled Sonic game, but it was like fully 3D. But they made him look like that. But yeah, this doesn't have that at all. Because this was like before they kind of like swapped over to that like unified classic Sonic art style, which is neat. There's not really much of note here. Look at Sonic 3. Also kind of weird because this was before Sega started really touting Sonic 3 and Knuckles as like the same game. So like you can still like play the combined version on this compilation, but it's not the way, it's not like the main way you play it. Like you have to like unlock the lock on feature. Whereas like say the Switch remakes or like the Switch like compilations, it's just like there's no way to play the originals. It's just like, you get Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and they just treat that as like the main thing, which I think is fine. I think that's like the best way to play it anyway. But say if I ever want to just play Sonic 3 by itself for some reason, we got it here. And also like the music is changed in the Switch versions, or the modern re-releases on consoles, for like legal reasons. So if I ever get a hankering to hear Ice Cap Zone as God intended, it's right here. Now the last cool thing I want to talk about with this is just there's a Sonic Adventure 2 ad in the back for like the GameCube port. And I just think it's kind of neat. I need to grab the adventure games for GameCube. They vary in price, but I actually have the adventure games, but I play on Mac, or like I have a Mac, so I don't really get to play those on Steam. Of course, I can emulate if I want. I've done that a little bit, but I don't know. I don't really, as I've discussed here, I don't really get into games well if I'm playing on a computer. I need to have a console. So anyway, there's my GameCube collection. Yeah, it's pretty much it. I have a total of 4 games, but they're cool and I like them. And I think something that a fun benefit of the crazy retro game market right now is the fact that you kind of if you want to collect stuff and you don't want to spend obscene amounts of money on Doshin the Giant, it's you kind of have to just go pick up kind of dinky little things you gotta get this weirdo version of Metroid Prime or Namco Museum. But I think it adds a lot of character to your collection because you feel very personally attached to them when these aren't the games people are talking about really. And you just have 2 retro game collections, and that's that's about it. So anyway, I think I might probably have more to say about that kind of a retro game collecting in the future, but I'll leave this here because this video got longer than I wanted. It's so funny because every time I sit down to record a video and I'm oh yeah, this will be 10 minutes, it ends up being 20. So anyway, thanks for watching. And I will be back at you tomorrow, hopefully with something a little more interesting and something shorter. Goodbye.